The pillars that we established in Arkham Asylum really have stayed something that we've developed and evolved throughout all three games. But for us, we really wanted to take big risks at every new iteration. So in Arkham City, it was this massive new open world structure. But for Batman Arkham Knight, it's really all about the Batmobile, delivering the experience and the promise of driving this legendary car in this legendary city. Adding the Batmobile was something that we were very conscious of, that it didn't just feel like it was a bolted-on driving section. We didn't want to just throw away everything that we had developed for previous games, because Batman is about using whatever is the most effective tool at the time. So the idea of man and machine really lay at the heart of that, using the Batmobile when it's appropriate, but also using the abilities of the Batmobile to augment Batman himself. So you would have seen in the demo being able to eject out of the Batmobile to gain insane altitude and then dive down through the streets of Gotham from above. So the integration of Batman and the Batmobile really lay at the core of the design of Arkham Knight. Working on next-gen hardware, it's easy to think we're just going to go insane with everything, but we had to make very specific decisions about what we went insane with. And the Batmobile is insane. I mean, it's massive, it's destructive, it's powerful, it's fast. It does all of these incredible things that are very, very exciting and very, very fresh and new. But building out the entirety of Gotham City itself was something else we just could not have done on previous generations of hardware. So they were the two massive features that next-gen enabled for us. The Arkham Knight is a brand new character in Batman's universe, and it's been a real honor to be able to design a completely original character in collaboration with DC. There's a lot more information about the Arkham Knight that we're going to talk about down the track, but he's a very significant character and someone who can really step up and step to Batman, which is something that's very rare for Batman to be able to meet someone who is incredibly powerful and can get the jump on him, as you would have seen at the end of the demo just now. Batman Arkham Knight coming later this year on PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC.
Hey guys, Nick here from 4PlayerNetwork.com, and I'm sitting here with Zafar, the lead animator over at Rocksteady Studios. We just got done seeing a presentation of Batman Arkham Knight and playing a pretty hefty demo of it. And the game is coming along quite nicely, I must say. Can you go ahead and just set the game up for us? I know everybody is kind of familiar with Arkham City, but where does this take place in relation to your previous game?
So we are 12 months in after the events of Arkham City.
Okay.
Joker has died.
Yes.
Left him behind.
Yes.
Scarecrow stepped up.
Oh man.
We've left Scarecrow in the lurk in Arkham City, so now he's back with a vengeance.
Okay.
He wants to take down the Bat. He wants to intoxicate the whole city. We've got Arkham Knight, a brand new character who's working with Scarecrow to take down the Bats.
That's exciting.
And then we've got the Batmobile.
Yes. Yes.
What a machine.
Oh my god.
Two modes, pursuit mode, battle mode.
Okay.
Weapons, machinery, toe-to-toe fighting.
Oh man.
Legendary conclusion happening in Arkham Knight.
You're bringing back all kinds of great memories from just playing that short demo. It was awesome. So I guess first, most important question I have right now, Batmobile. It was awesome. What can you tell us about it, and we saw some pretty cool demonstrations of how it works in terms of puzzle solving too. With he used the Batmobile to use the
Batwinch.
Yeah, the Batwinch to like pull the elevator up.
Yep.
I guess set up the Batmobile and let us know how that works in terms of what other kind of puzzles can we expect to see with that.
I mean, the Batmobile was a massive challenge for us to take on, to insert it into a game that's so critically acclaimed and known about. Like everyone knows what the gameplay's like with Batman. We wanted to introduce the car because, for one, we want to do it, and secondly, everyone wants to see it, right? The fans have been saying, when are you going to get the Batmobile in the game? Well, this is it. Batman Arkham Knight brings you the Batmobile. Legendary car. It has two modes, like I've mentioned already. Pursuit mode, battle mode. We've got all the weaponry. We've got riot suppressor. We've got heavy cannon, Vulcan cannon, electrical tasers. Like you've mentioned, we can use it for puzzle solving too. There's the Batwinch, which can latch onto things, pull walls down, make makeshift bridges. All sorts of things happening there. You've got the Riddler getting involved, challenging Batman's psyche, and Batman's got a whole host of puzzles there to solve with the Batmobile and outside the Batmobile. Yeah. So there's lots of things
well, I was actually going to ask you about the Riddler challenges. Are all the Riddler challenges going to involve the Batmobile, or is it kind of some of them are for the Batmobile and some of them are classic Riddler challenges?
I mean, believe me when I say there's a lot happening there with Riddler. We can't give away too much right now. Don't put any spoilers out there, but there's a lot happening. Throughout the whole game, we don't want to offset it too much in terms of too much Batmobile, too little Batman usage. So there's a nice balance there of 50-50, 40-60 gameplay with the car itself. So you're going to experience that in all the different elements and side stories.
Fantastic. I guess I got a two-parter here. As far as the world goes, obviously your design philosophy kind of had to change a little bit, going from Arkham City to Arkham Knight because of the introduction of the Batmobile. What can you tell us about how your approach to design has changed, and how big is the world in comparison to Arkham City?
Man, the game world is 5 times bigger than Arkham City was.
That's insane.
Can you encapsulate that? Seriously, that is humongous.
No, I noticed that immediately when they showed the demonstration at the Sony press conference when he launched in the air and he was gliding, pretty high up in the sky, and you could tell pretty immediately that.
I mean, the art team have done an incredible job on bringing Gotham City to light once and for all. It's there in its entirety. It's massive. 20 times bigger than Arkham's Asylum ever was.
Yes.
So our game scale, we're utilizing that horsepower that we got from next-gen consoles to create that open-world game space. We've got all the different side missions, all the rogues galleries coming together. We've got, Penguin, Two-Face, Harley, Riddler. I'm trying to avoid using key characters that we haven't mentioned so far.
Tell me more.
So there's lots coming. We just need to be careful, and we need to just keep our eyes peeled. We're all going to be announcing them very soon. But yeah, the game was massive. Design team have gone to town with every story element. Obviously, like we mentioned already, we've got Scarecrow and Nightwing liaising together, trying to take down the bats. But then we've got all the little secret characters just knocking on the door,
waiting in the wings.
Let us out.
I can tell. Here's a quick question, because I love the Batmobile. Batwing? Is there a Batwing in the game?
Right now, all we got to focus on is that bad boy there. That's the big one. That's the second character.
I had to ask. I love how the Batmobile controls so far. Y'all found so many awesome ways to implement it into the already existing game world, which is really exciting. Are there any other playable characters? One of our fans wanted me to ask you that specifically.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
Doesn't everyone want to know that? The second player character is the Batmobile.
All right,
there
good.
It is. I was going to release a little spoiler there.
Gotcha.
No. I mean, for us, that was a massive, challenge, like I mentioned already. So that in itself is the second character. You've got the 2 modes in there, so there's a lot of fun to be had there.
Okay. Are there any other challenges going from Arkham City to Arkham Knight that you can talk about? I know you're working on new hardware now. The world is quite a bit larger. Any other challenges you can touch on that y'all as a team came across in the development process?
I mean, a global challenge in itself is ensuring that we deliver a game that the fans know and love already. Like the Batman 2 games that we've made, Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, people know it plays great. The attention to detail is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The storyline is just incredible. So we need to ensure that remains the same in the final installment.
Fantastic. Well, you seem like you've accomplished that already. And also, just last thing, I want to know about combat. It retains the classic feel of Batman combat as well. But what can you tell us about how the Batmobile works into combat and gliding? I saw a lot of seamless transitions between being in the air into ground combat and going from the Batmobile to combat. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, like I've kind of briefly touched on earlier, we want to integrate the Batmobile into Batman himself as well. We want to seamlessly bring man and machine together. And that was a big challenge also in itself. Yeah. Like I said, we don't want just a car racing around the streets and kind of tearing down the streets. We just want Batman to be able to eject out at any given moment and then scorch across the city, check out the beautiful vista, and then
it's beautiful.
At any moment just click that L1 button and you're straight back into the car chasing down the next supervillain.
It was cool. Seeing how seamless that was really, really impressive. So the game's coming in
2015. Next gen, new gen consoles.
Yep.
It's PS4, Xbox One, PC.
It's very exciting. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. The game looks and plays fantastically already, so we're all very excited to play
Thanks
it.
very much, bro. Thank you.
I guess have a good rest of the E3. And stick with us here at 4playernetwork.com for more podcasts, impressions, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching.
Scarecrow said he had a plan, that together we could take you out. And Gotham would be ours.
Over my dead body.
I believe that was the idea.
In this game, Scarecrow comes to destroy Batman, basically. Every aspect of Batman is challenged. Every aspect of his identity is challenged.
Alfred, analyze the militia forces, troop deployments, equipment movements. I want to know exactly what I'm up against.
This part of the trilogy is a much more psychological challenge for Batman. He's being ripped apart. and he's fighting for his identity. For me as an actor, it was a blast to get to flex those muscles.
Where's Scarecrow?
Go to hell!
Where is he? Talk! Or I'll crush every bone in your body.
The only people left on the streets are the sort that enjoy the chaos. Scum, criminals, and worse.
Commissioner Gordon is both a father, a friend, and obviously someone who is trying to save his city.
It took just 24 hours for us to lose control of the city. Tonight, Gotham's relying on one man to save us all.
Gordon has monumental respect for the Bat. They're tight, they're friends, and they're dedicated and loyal to each other.
Do you really think Scarecrow's crazy enough to detonate a chemical weapon in Gotham?
I won't let that happen, Jim.
Gotham, this is your only warning. And one more time, because I left word out. Yes.
The man's a psychopath, seriously, but he's also brilliant. He's actually quite a reasonable man in the way he talks, but he's obviously very disturbed.
This demonstration used just 5 ounces of my latest toxin. Tomorrow will seem like child's play.
It's been an interesting character to approach because I don't sort of get to use one of the monster voices that you sometimes get to use in games. So we've got to sort of get that incredible eeriness in the voice without overdoing it.
All that remains is for you to watch as I drag your beloved Gotham into oblivion.
In this particular game, he draws together all the other villains that we've met over the last 75 years and brings them into one place to finally try and bring Batman down. His one desire is not to kill Batman, but to humiliate him, to reduce him to ashes.
In death, he has nothing left to fear. Your vengeance will come.
What Scarecrow works out is that if he can make Batman feel fear, then he will have won the day, because then he will expose him to the world as a fraud.
Oracle, I need the location of Unit 247.
Already working on it. This is not the first game that Barbara Gordon has been in. You've heard her voice in the past, but this is actually the first game where you get to see her. I also get to play Oracle, and it's when Barbara's in a wheelchair, and you get to see just more of her kind of intellect come out and see how she's able to kind of guide Batman behind the scenes.
Oracle, check the chemical analysis I've just uploaded.
It's gonna take a little while longer. Drop by the clock tower when you're ready, and I'll show you what I've got so far. How's my dad doing?
He's holding up.
Somehow, he always does. The relationship between Barbara Gordon and Commissioner Gordon, it's a loving relationship, but it's secretive. I hate lying to him. He'd kill me if he knew I was still in the city. She kind of withholds a bit of information because he would never want his daughter involved with what Batman's doing because it's so dangerous. So, you know, I think she keeps her secrets from him to protect him from worrying about her.
Sorry, I've got to go. Stay safe, Barbara.
The biggest surprise about the game is that this is the first time that you actually get to drive the Batmobile. You know, in all the other games, they get to be the Bat, but in this one, you actually get to drive this vehicle, and that's something that they haven't done before, so I think they'll have a lot of fun with that.
Oracle, I need to track that military vehicle.
A squad car has picked up the pursuit. I'm relaying its location now.
The Batmobile is such an awesome car. It's the most beautiful I've seen it.
Golf Oscar 5-6, this is Commissioner Gordon. I'm calling off the pursuit. It's too dangerous.
You're in it. You know, you're in the Batmobile, you're in the chases. It's great.
Perhaps the main reason I wanted to play Scarecrow is because I hope he might get to drive the Batmobile. And no one does that. Wouldn't that be so cool to say, I was the character that drove the Batmobile? I'm not saying it's happening, but that would be a great thing to do.
We're trying to make this absolutely great. Just seeing the landscape of Gotham, seeing what some of these characters are, I went, dude, look at that. I mean, it's impressive.
Visually, it's astonishing. It's always exciting to be at the cutting edge of things, and I just feel like this game is really at the cutting edge.
It's astounding. It's a beautiful, beautiful world that they created. It's just very, very complex, and I did not expect that.
thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
My name is Gaz Deeves and I'm Social Marketing Manager for Rocksteady Studios.
And what game are we here to talk about as if we couldn't tell?
Well, Rocksteady Studios, we're working on Batman Arkham Knight, which is coming in 2015 to PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC.
Great, thanks, that's right, that's the interview then. So, it's been a couple of months since you showed us off the first gameplay footage. A lot's changed since then, particularly you've revealed quite a lot more about a certain car. Do you want to tell us all about it?
Well, the Batmobile has been the big new gameplay addition that we've really wanted to make a massive deal of in Batman Arkham Knight. And we've just announced Battle Mode, which is a completely new set of abilities for the Batmobile. At the touch of a button, you can switch from Pursuit Mode, which is the speed mode, allowing you to navigate very quickly through the streets of Gotham, now into Battle Mode. That gives you access to heavy weaponry, a Vulcan gun, 60mm heavy cannon, riot suppressor for dealing with thugs non-lethally, and also a winch and other puzzle-solving abilities, allowing you to manipulate the environment and work with Batman and the Batmobile to solve problems.
And it's also got a remote control mode as well to access some of those weapons.
The Batmobile, of course, has all kinds of abilities. It wouldn't be complete without a remote control.
So tell us a little bit more about how Batman uses the Batmobile in the game.
So the Batmobile enhances Batman's abilities in all kinds of ways. The Batmobile can be used for problem solving. There's a section in the demo where we show Batman navigating an environment with the Batmobile supporting him, opening areas that he wouldn't be able to open without it, using remote control to raise and lower platforms for him to access. It also allows him to engage in tank combat against unmanned drones. The Arkham Knight's forces are moving into Gotham, putting a real threat onto the city, and the Batmobile's battle mode, the tank combat abilities that it has, are ideal for dealing with this situation.
So who is the Arkham Knight?
The Arkham Knight is an exclusively created character by Rocksteady Studios in association with DC Comics.
So you're not going to tell us who he is?
The Arkham Knight is a character created exclusively with DC Comics for Batman Arkham Knight.
Fantastic. At the last reveal, you obviously ended it with the Arkham Knight coming out, knocking Batman down and pulling a gun on him. Today we've seen quite a lot more of him. So when are we going to find out more about him? Obviously not who he is, because we don't want to ruin the story, but obviously the game's called Arkham Knight. He's a pivotal character, so tell us a little bit more.
You'll find out plenty about the Arkham Knight when you play Batman Arkham Knight in 2015.
Great. So Scarecrow is the other major bad guy. What's happened to him since last we saw him?
Well, Scarecrow was left out of Batman Arkham City specifically because we wanted to bring him in as the primary threat in Batman Arkham Knight. So Scarecrow has been he's been building his forces. We find him in the demo that we're presenting here at E3. He's taken over the Ace Chemicals building, and he's using that to produce a massive amount of fear toxin that he wants to use to create a bomb that is going to detonate and pose a massive threat to Gotham.
So going back to the Batmobile for a moment, we also saw a missile barrage today. So do you want to talk a bit about that?
The missile barrage is the most powerful ability in battle mode, and what it can be used to do once you've built up enough of a combo through tank combat using the Vulcan gun, using the heavy cannon. You can unleash a missile barrage causing massive destruction. It looks awesome and it feels awesome.
The Batmobile also has a containment mode. So tell us a little bit about that and how that's used within the game.
There's only one seat in the Batmobile in the cockpit up front, and that's for Batman, but there's also the containment unit with 2 seats at the back, and you can use that to either transport allies or apprehend supervillains.
Excellent. So there's also a new enemy type, the Combat Expert. So do you want to tell us about that?
Combat Experts are extremely dangerous foes for Batman. They're going to push his combat abilities to the limit. They'll dodge Batman's attacks and counter very quickly. In order to keep your free-flow combat combo going, you're going to have to be very quick and watch out for their aerial attacks, but we've also created a new move, the aerial counter, to deal with exactly that.
So let's go back to the Batmobile again. You can see that's pretty much the theme at the moment. There's also a move, the Batmobile Assisted Takedown. So tell us about that.
So in free-flow combat, when the Batmobile is nearby, Batman can initiate a Batmobile-assisted takedown. He'll grab a hold of a thug, give them a massive uppercut, and the Batmobile's non-lethal riot suppressor will take them out in the air.
So you recently announced that the game was coming out in 2015. What do you want to say to everybody to get them hyped up and ready for next year?
Batman Arkham Knight coming in 2015. It's going to be absolutely worth the wait. Awesome, takes time, and I think gamers are really going to enjoy it when they get their hands on it.
Thanks very much for your time today, Gaz.
Thanks, Andrew.
everybody? We're right here at WB Games and with Gaz, and we're talking about Batman Arkham Knight. I can't see it. I have goosebumps because no other superhero gives the excitement like Batman does. And Gaz is one of the lucky people who gets to work with the development team to bring Batman to life and give it to the consoles. But Gaz, how's everything? How's Batman? How's E3 for you? What's going on?
We're having a hell of a show, Jassy. It's incredible here. Like, we've been working on this game for like 3.5 years, right? Like, ever since we wrapped on Arkham City, we've been working on this game, and we've been really deep in development. Right. So now is our chance. Like, loads of the dev team are here, and it's awesome for us to show the game to people and let people who haven't played it before play it for the first time, see their reactions, and live their reactions. And it's incredible, man. The response we've been getting is amazing. There's loads of like different gameplay styles that we've built into the Batman world now. Batman is a versatile character, versatile hero, and it's awesome to be able to reflect that in the demo that we're showing here today. And I cannot wait for people to get to play the full game in like 6 days' time.
Right, so one of the big questions a lot of people have asked us, and I want to ask it towards you. It's okay if you don't answer. We know this takes place at Gotham City, but is it all of Gotham City or some parts, or what are we talking about here?
It's the Gotham City that we built is massive, right? So we wanted to build it, like, make it 5 times bigger than Arkham City, and I think gamers are really going to enjoy playing the massive city that we've built when they get the chance to play the game next week.
All right, now the biggest part about Batman, of course, is the cast. And when I talk about cast, it's not just characters, but the actors. So what are we talking about in terms of cast do you guys have here for Batman?
Well, I guess the headline is that we've brought back Kevin Conroy as Batman. He just is the iconic voice of Batman for us. And I mean, you've heard him in the trailers already. It's awesome to have him voicing our Batman for the final entry in the series. We've brought back some returning characters as well. Tazzy Valenza is voicing Poison Ivy. We've got Tara Strong as Harley Quinn, who does a great job. Yeah. Who else do we have? Wally Wingert is voicing Riddler. He's back again. He's been voicing that throughout. We've got Jonathan Banks as Commissioner Gordon. You'll remember him from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Who else do we have? Ashley Greene is our Oracle. We've got an enormous voice cast of really talented actors. It's been great to work with those guys to bring our characters to life.
And now Batman just got more immense and more massive. There's a lot of brand new stuff. Vehicles, brand new gadgets and whatnot. What are the highlights in terms of you guys showing this? Like, one of the few highlights you guys showed was dual play, right? Aside from that, what other features does this new Batman have that players are just going to go, wow, they did that?
Well, one of the big new features, like you say, is dual play. And what we wanted to do with that is take the free flow combat that we created for Batman Arkham Asylum, expanded on in Batman Arkham City, and now we've just like turned it up to 11 for Batman Arkham Knight, right? So Batman and one of his allies, in certain situations, Nightwing, Robin, or Catwoman, they work together, taking down massive groups of enemies. You can switch between them on the fly, controlling Batman, switch across to Catwoman, take out a few thugs, switch back to Batman, and if you build up your combo, you can do a takedown during the transition where the two work together. That's awesome. One of the big gameplay additions for me, though, is the Batmobile, man. And we're so psyched to bring the Batmobile into the game.
That's the only feature you guys are showing in this booth?
The dual play is in there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, dual play combat is in there. We've got new detective mode stuff. We've got new Predator stuff. It's all in this demo. But the Batmobile is like, because that's totally new. Like, you've never been able to drive the Batmobile in the Arkham games before. And it's awesome. Like, it's always kind of following you around. It's just around the corner. So anytime you want to call it, you just tap the L1 button. Bang, the Batmobile is right there. Just come to you. You can transform it into a tank, which is incredible. We've got a whole new gameplay combat mode called Battle Mode, which you can also play in this demo. And I think it's awesome. Like, we've really wanted to develop and keep the ethos of free flow combat and take that into a more kind of tank-based situation. So make sure you check it out.
Of course. Guys, I'm just going to say it from me right now. I'm sorry you guys are not here to play the gameplay, but I'm going to give you a little bit of hope. I'll have Gaz here. Tell them when this game is going to be coming out and how long they have to wait before they can get their hands on it.
The game is out on the 23rd of June worldwide. We cannot wait for you to play it. We've been working on this game for so long, and we are ready to hand it over to gamers, to the community, and to see what you do with our game.
Well, there you guys have it. You guys have 6 days to pre-order. Go and buy it. I'm gonna go play. And then go and buy it. Get off the couch, get off the computer, and have fun. Let's go. Let's go. I'm gonna put this down. Bye.
We're very fortunate after having made our first game, Urban Chaos, to be given the opportunity to work on something as amazing as Batman. The start of the game came around because actually we were working with Eidos at the time. We went to them and presented some core ideas for things that we wanted to do differently, and they were basically the ideas of the Predator gameplay, the stealth, that we wanted to do stealth, but really aggressive stealth where you felt in control. That was a big part of it, that we felt that a lot of stealth games you felt like you were hiding and you were scared, and we were like, okay, well, but you can still have a stealth game where you're powerful and in control. That was kind of the fundamental idea. Also the detective side, that Batman games tended to focus previously, didn't focus so much on the detective side, and we felt there was a kind of rich vein of showing how intelligent and prepared this guy was, rather than, you know, obviously he has these great physical attributes, but those were kind of the key elements of our first pitch, and then it just kind of exploded from there.
Do you really think you can win?
When we finished Arkham Asylum, to be completely honest, we weren't 100%, but you never know how it's going to be received. You just don't know how people will, you know, we knew it, we liked it, we were very proud of it, but we had the Easter egg of the hint for Arkham City and the prison of Arkham City in the Warden's office in Arkham Asylum, but we sort of put that in there a bit cheekily, really, thinking, should that be really nice if we get to make a sequel, so let's kind of put that in there and hopefully it will come about.
Had you ever considered that all this is your fault? Your presence creates these animals.
And then when we moved into City, we knew that that felt like the kind of middle piece of our story. At Rocksteady, we are a one-game studio. We only ever work on one game at a time. And the idea behind that was really that we just don't feel that if you spread your talent and resources that you get the best possible game you can. And we're all in the industry to try and make something we can be really proud of.
Gate open. Time to bring out a car.
For Batman, it wasn't like we sat down on day one and we knew all the answers. You know, we had a vision for where we wanted to go, but we didn't know exactly how we were going to get there. And it evolves. Any game evolves. And actually, one of the great things about game development compared to some other mediums is that there's a lovely evolution of the product. You know, if you're making a film, then you're much more constrained about what you caught on the celluloid when you filmed it. But for games, we can come in one day and be quite dynamic in what we do. You know, we've put so much into this game, into Arkham Knight. It always felt like the culmination of every lesson we'd learnt across Asylum and City all come together in this game. So it really felt like that was the end of the trilogy. And I think, you know, we've been working on Batman for a long time. It'll be about 8.5 years by the time Arkham Knight ships. So the thing that we want to do is make sure that what we do is fresh and exciting, and I'm still inspired and genuinely privileged to work on the game, but at the same time, you know, for the studio, we feel that doing something different is the best way to keep us inspired.
Gaz, nice to see you, mate. Talk to us about Batman Arkham Knight.
Well, this is the first time that the public is able to see here at Gamescom. The first time the public is able to see Batman Arkham Knight, an extended gameplay demo down on the show floor. There's around 15 minutes of exclusive footage that's being shown in a big cinema down on the show floor, and that's showing a section of the game that takes place in Ace Chemicals. Batman has got a tip on where Scarecrow might be, and he's heading into Ace Chemicals to try and take him down.
So this is the one we saw behind closed doors at E3. So what's been the reaction of the fans so far now that they're seeing it today?
I think the best reaction that we've seen from the fans so far has been when the Batmobile transforms for the first time and you've got access to battle mode. They also absolutely love watching the Batmobile takedown. It's one of the best parts of the demo, where Batman uppercuts and the Batmobile uses the riot suppressor to shoot the guards out of the air.
Great. So who's the Arkham Knight?
The Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight is the name of the game.
So who's the character of the Arkham Knight?
That would be spoilerific.
So the Batmobile, obviously Batman's best gadget. Tell us all about it. What's new?
So the Batmobile is Batman's most powerful, most awesome, most versatile gadget, and enhances his abilities in all kinds of ways. Using Pursuit Mode, which is the traditional high-speed mode, you've got access to the Afterburner. You can eject out of the Batmobile using the speed to transfer that into a glide. But Battle Mode is really the most awesome gadget that Batman has access to. So you're able to strafe, you're able to dodge fire. You're going to be using that in combat against the Arkham Knight's drone forces, and you can also use that for problem solving and puzzles. So there's a section of this demo where you're going to be using the Batmobile remote control to open sections for Batman, going into the next sections Batman, and using the Batmobile again, sort of man and machine working together, not just for combat, not just for exploration, but also for problem solving.
Awesome. Who's the Arkham Knight?
I'm not going to tell you that, dude.
So what's been the reaction in the studio when you've sort of read everything from people who are saying, I think the Arkham Knight is this guy, I think the Arkham Knight's that guy, I think it's Robin, I think it's... It may be. Do you guys sit there and laugh? Do you go, oh my God, they're really close? How do you guys do it?
We don't laugh at all. It's always great to see what fans what fans do with the information they have, and I think sort of because we like to build so much detail and so much mystery into our games, that everyone is always looking for that sort of extra level of depth, extra level of detail. So it's awesome to see what people do.
Okay, what new stuff can you tell us about since the last time we spoke then?
We announced retailer-exclusive downloadable content. For example, Red Hood is going to be playable in a sort of dedicated side story mission. That's exclusive to GameStop in the US, and the prototype Batmobile has also been announced, and that's an exclusive piece of downloadable content for Walmart in the US.
And are we likely to see other territories getting similar things or their own thing as time progresses?
We'll be announcing retailer exclusives closer to launch for different territories, depending.
Excellent. So Oracle plays a much bigger role in Arkham Knight. Do you want to talk a little bit about her and what you've done to develop her character?
Well, Oracle is appearing in person as a character in Batman Arkham Knight for the first time, and it's really great to finally show gamers what our vision of her is like. Her clock tower, her effectively her own Bat computer is a really important part of Batman lore, and we've built that out so Batman will be able to access that. He'll be working with Oracle to take down Scarecrow, and it's really awesome to have her as field support and to bring her more fully into the Arkhamverse.
So who's the Arkham Knight?
I am not going to tell you that, bro.
So close. So the game is huge and looks amazing. What's probably been the biggest challenge for you guys to make it look like it does?
It hasn't really been much challenge in getting the game to look the way it is. You know, our engine guys are awesome. We're working on Unreal Engine 3, but it's such a heavily modified version of the engine now. Our engine guys have been tweaking that really since we started on Batman Arkham Asylum. One of the things that we worked really hard on is getting that Gotham atmosphere, that oppressive, rainy, dark atmosphere that people really associate and that we love about Gotham. You know, the sun never shines there, and we've spent a lot of time working on making it feel just right.
Okay, and let's talk a bit about the voices. Tell us about some of the actors that you've got doing voices in the game.
Well, we've got Kevin Conroy, who's back as the voice of Batman. He did the voice in both of our previous Arkham games. Really classic, iconic voice from the animated series. We also have Nolan North returning as the Penguin. So he's going to be bringing his unique Cockney version, the Arkham vision of the Penguin to Arkham Knight. Tara Strong is back as Harley Quinn. Wally Wingate is back as Riddler, and there's plenty more to be announced later.
Who's your favourite villain then? Come on, Gaz, tell us.
My favourite villain, Scarecrow's amazing. He's narratively so interesting. I think he reflects a really different set of Batman's personality traits and challenges than Joker does. So it's been really interesting having Scarecrow as the principal villain in the absence of Joker to be able to really create something new and fresh.
Okay, and who's the Arkham Knight?
I am not going to tell you that. It's me.
You've heard it exclusive. Gaz is the Arkham Knight. So you've also got some special challenges for the Batmobile. Do you want to talk about that?
So Riddler is back in Batman Arkham Knight, and he's kind of an engineer. He's always been interested in creating sort of intricate puzzles and challenges for Batman. This time he's been spending time since the last game building tunnels underneath Gotham City because he wants to challenge and study the Batmobile. So forcing Batman to play essentially a racing challenge so that he can get telemetry data, so that he can study it and ultimately take down the machine to take down the man.
Are we likely to see other cool new Bat gadgets in the game?
The big gadget addition is the Batmobile, and the Batmobile enhances Batman's abilities in all kinds of ways. But we have expanded out what Batman's gadgets can do. For example, some of them are now available while you're gliding around. You're going to be able to use the line launcher to set up an improvised tightrope just about anywhere, just firing it between two buildings, giving you a chance to scope out a situation before you glide in, maybe into free flow combat, for example. And if you do, you're going to get the chance to throw batarangs even before you hit the ground. So you can take some thugs out, knock them out even before you fight the rest.
Any sort of online gaming in there, multiplayer, co-op? Tell us who the Arkham Knight is, that sort of thing.
For us, a Batman experience is the power fantasy of being the Batman. The central philosophy of Rocksteady's games is be the Batman. For us, that's a single-player experience. So we're not targeting any online modes.
Okay. And who's the Arkham Knight?
I'm not going to tell you.
I tell you. So,
how many times have you asked that question?
I'm going to keep asking until you slip up and tell us. People want to know. Right, so, finally, give us 5 things about Batman Arkham Knight that are so cool that everyone must know.
So, Batman Arkham Knight is the epic conclusion to Rocksteady's trilogy. We're working really hard to bring the ultimate Batman experience to gamers. You're going to get to drive the Batmobile around an open world Gotham for the first time. Which is totally awesome. The Batmobile is able to transform into battle mode. That's going to give you access to heavy weaponry, which is amazing. We've got a returning cast of awesome rogues and a fantastic story that's really going to challenge Batman in all kinds of ways.
And who's the Arkham Knight?
I'm not going to tell you.
Gaz, thanks for your time.
Thanks very much, Andrew.
Thanks for watching. Why not subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the link on the screen now.
We wanted our final Arkham game to be the ultimate Batman experience. Like when you pick up that controller, it's like you're putting on the cowl to become the savior and protector of Gotham. And for us, that means building an enormous open world Gotham City full of the really rich level of detail that people have come to expect from Arkham games.
I think this has been a great opportunity for us, being on this new powerful hardware, to really take the leash off on our artists and let them just go completely wild. Instead of saying no to them all the time, just say yes, do whatever you want. On Batman Arkham Knight, we have a relatively small development team. We've only got 4 people on our engine team and only 2 doing the rendering tech. So we use middleware to help us achieve the things that we want to do. NVIDIA is putting out more and more powerful hardware, and as well as developing the hardware, they develop all this awesome software to add in a lot of effects. In this game, my favorite NVIDIA GameWorks feature has got to be the extra rain details in the cape. There's a brilliant effect that whenever you're in combat or you expand the cape, you get these beautiful droplets that fly off. That really kind of cements that rainy Gotham Knight effect that we were going for. Rocksteady is very much a content-driven studio. We don't tend to lead with tech, but we try and find solutions for the things they want to do. We've partnered a lot with middleware solutions like PhysX to give our characters a lot of secondary motion animation. We're using the Apex destruction to make our entire world destructible, so it behaves really well when we're colliding against it with the Batmobile.
It just wouldn't feel like a complete Batman experience without the most iconic car in all of popular culture. We want you guys to be able to drive around Gotham, tearing through the streets, smashing through barriers.
If it's important to have the Batmobile do a really cool kind of burnout, then we'll look at doing a lot of cool particle effects to give nice clouds and have them light really nicely in the environment and interact really well, which has been expanded upon with the new GameWorks turbulence feature, which is something that we couldn't achieve with our tech, but there were some really clever guys at NVIDIA who built this beautiful fluid simulation technology that you get these wonderful smoke clouds that also interact with the Batmobile when you're doing donuts, it kind of punches holes through it. This is awesome.
It's been an incredible ride working with Batman and with that whole universe for going on for 8-9 years now. For us to be putting the final installment of our epic Arkham trilogy into gamers' hands, it's an incredible experience.
Welcome to E3 2014, everybody. My name is Christopher Thomas Plant. Today I'm joined by my friend Tracy Lien, and we're going to talk about Batman Arkham Knight. Fortunately, we have somebody who actually knows a thing about Batman Arkham Knight. We have Dax Ginn here, not related to Ted Ginn Jr., formerly of the Ohio State Buckeyes. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very, very well.
Thank you so much for making time. I know it is an absolutely crazy week.
It's super crazy, yeah.
But we have some gameplay. We're going to hop into that first off, and you're going to kind of guide us through what we're seeing, and then we'll ask some questions afterwards.
Sure thing. So this is a piece that we've just put together for the press conference with Sony the other day, and we really wanted to kind of show everyone this is what we're doing with Next Gen. Here's our focus, because we've talked a lot about the Batmobile and the functionality of the Batmobile, but really the ways in which you can use the Batmobile for both pursuit through the city and also transforming into the new battle mode to engage in encounters with the Arkham Knight's forces is a huge part of the gameplay. But Gotham City itself is this massive playground that we've built, and this has really been something using the horsepower of Next Gen that we really wanted to execute on, the entirety of the city built out. And so starting here on Wayne Towers, right up in Bruce Wayne's personal office, and then just diving off the top and plunging down into streets. When we first kind of got this working in game, probably like 2 or 3 years ago now, we sort of started to prototype that kind of sheer drop where you're just hitting the side, down the side of a building, you know, hitting that really deep dive, and then calling in the Batmobile at any time with the press of a button. That sort of fusion between man and machine is something that we just really love the idea of. So it's awesome to bring it here and show it off to gamers at E3.
Sure. I mean, something that we've heard a bit about at this E3 is we have all this power in the hardware now. Is it actually being applied to the gameplay, or is it being applied to making everything look pretty? Is that something that you're saying basically couldn't have been done before?
Well, for us, it's more about creating a sense of place. You know, Gotham City isn't just a city. It's a very particular place with a very particular atmosphere. So the rain that we have, for example, really is very processor heavy. So using the power of Next Gen, we can create that very authentic emotional feeling of being in Gotham City. And you see here, this is the transformation into battle mode. So this additional kind of way of using the Batmobile to bring out this military-grade artillery that Batman has there, because the Arkham Knight's forces are an occupation force, a military force that he is sending into Gotham City in order to flush out Batman so that Scarecrow can destroy the legend of the Batman. The thing is, all of these tanks are all unmanned. They're all drones. They're all remote controlled by the Arkham Knight's forces. So Batman can totally unload on them and just create carnage in the streets.
I have to ask.
Is Batman allowed to have guns though? Like, absolutely.
Batman's attitude towards killing is the thing, and because these tanks are unmanned, they're unmanned drones. Then that's the preparation that he has put into this threat to the city that he is sworn to protect.
I know how intense you guys are about DC and canon and everything. Have you had the conversations in the office about which things fringe on half machine, half man, where they fall, and can we shoot it territory?
Well, we're not here to break Batman's rules. You know,
Sure.
We absolutely work in collaboration with DC on every aspect of the games that we create. So when we were designing the kind of offensive abilities of the Batmobile, that was something that we did in collaboration to ensure that we kind of take the combat experience to the next level with vehicular combat. And so the design of the Arkham Knight's forces really fell into that big conversation about how do we bring a threat of warfare to Gotham City, but still respect the principles that Batman lives by.
Sure. Now, we saw Scarecrow at the end of the thing yesterday. Actually, if there's anything happening here, feel free to cut me off and tell me what's happening.
This is what we really wanted to do with the manifestation of fear for any developer at a press conference at Sony is your game crashing. That's your ultimate fear. And Scarecrow uses fear as a weapon. So we wanted to really show the ultimate fear that we have, which is something like this happening in front of 20 million people around the world. So the Scarecrow crash and the takeover by Scarecrow was our kind of connection with the use of fear as a weapon, and that's the threat that Scarecrow presents in Batman Arkham Knight.
So, Scarecrow is the main villain of the game?
The puppet master, the mastermind.
Now, I know that everybody loved Scarecrow in the first game, and I'm curious if there's a concern, going into this game of the kind of having your ice cream for the whole meal thing.
Right.
Was that something? I mean, is that why the Arkham Knight exists? So it's not just that weird kind of non-traditional gaming moment that was the Scarecrow stuff. So that it's breaking the game up, so it's not just that stuff all the way through? Well,
the strength of Scarecrow is the psychological angle that he brings in. And that psychological stuff works best when you don't expect it. So, we kind of talk to gamers a lot, and there's a real sort of split between people who love the claustrophobia of Arkham Asylum versus gamers who love the freeform open navigation of Batman Arkham City. So Arkham Knight really combines those two things with the entirety of Gotham built out with complete freedom to travel anywhere you want, whether it's gliding or using the Batmobile, but then with Scarecrow really bearing down on Batman throughout. But you've really got to think about Scarecrow as a physical dude. He's kind of like the Riddler. If Batman versus Scarecrow in a fist fight, it's just going to be over in a heartbeat. Whereas the Scarecrow sort of agenda is to break Batman down psychologically. So it's the Arkham Knight that brings that physical threat to Batman, that is able to flush him out and do Scarecrow's bidding on that sort of physical front, and the psychological aspect is what Scarecrow brings. It's always there in the background, ready to strike.
The villains of Batman are arguably more interesting than Batman himself, and so how did you decide who would make the cut this time around?
We always think about that from a gameplay perspective. What villains can we include that will allow us to explore new kinds of gameplay or new narrative threads? And that's something we never really had previously, was a villain who could challenge Batman physically. And so the Arkham Knight really gave us that opportunity to design a character that's completely original. I mean, that is a terrifying opportunity, but something I think we've done I love the design of the Arkham Knight, and again, working with DC, that's just been such an incredible experience. But the way in which the abilities that he brings can allow us to explore new avenues of gameplay was the most important thing for us. And we think about that in every respect, whether it's Harley Quinn or Penguin or Riddler or Two-Face. These are all characters that push Batman's buttons in different ways, and we have to ask ourselves, are those ways the style of gameplay that we want to pursue? Does it make sense for the game that we're making? And if the answer to that is no, then we'll generally avoid characters that don't really allow us to do something interesting or innovative from a gameplay perspective.
Because Scarecrow is a psychological villain, does that give you more dramatic opportunities? Obviously, Bruce Wayne is nothing but his past, essentially. A man constantly in grief. Is that what you gain from having a character like that, who can, one, get in the mind of that, and two, not literally recreate it, but I guess manifest it in his own ways?
I think it gives a sensation in the player's mind that they need to be on their toes all the time, because with a game world like this that's so open, and the interaction between Batman and the Batmobile, where you can drive at super speeds and eject out at any time and just be gliding above the skyline of Gotham, it's very easy to feel very free. And I personally love that feeling of feeling very free within a game world, but also very dominant, being able to strike anywhere that I choose. But knowing that Scarecrow is in that world with you means anything can kind of happen. And to me, it sort of tempers that freedom by always keeping this itch in the back of your mind, like, I should never feel like I'm in control of the situation, because Scarecrow has proved his power in Arkham Asylum. He's had a lot of time to prepare his revenge against Batman because he was completely absent during the course of Arkham City. So that's the way that we're sort of balancing that, is offering immense freedom, but also reminding gamers that at all times Scarecrow can affect him with fear toxin or by threatening the people that he loves, that he cares for.
Sure.
Whether it's Oracle or Commissioner Gordon, the vulnerabilities that Batman has in his life around him that he can't always control.
Yeah. So if Arkham Asylum was about the claustrophobia and the tension in a small space, and then Arkham City just opened up everything, and now you're in this huge city, what would you say defines Arkham Knight?
Batmobile. Because Batmobile. It was definitely the key gameplay feature that we felt like this is the thing that's missing. If we want to create the complete Batman experience, it's the Batmobile that we need to do. Because you think Batman, you think Batmobile. And the decisions that flowed from that, both technical and creative, were really significant because you, in your imagination, expect to be able to drive at insane speeds. You expect to be able to just rip through any obstacle in the street. So we had to commit exclusively to next gen in order to make that happen. And then once you make that creative decision, all of your technical decisions really flow from that because you need to support this kind of, very high performance vehicle and all of the destruction and kind of epic devastation that comes out of it. So really, that was the first decision we made, even before we'd finished Arkham City, was we're going to go for it with the Batmobile. And then, okay, we've got to build the entirety of Gotham City then, because if you're driving at insane speeds in a small game world, you're just going to be to the other side super quickly. So it's got to be big. It's got to be very epic scale. But we've always made games that are very detailed. So how do we ensure that if gamers get out and Batman just walks through the street, that every crack in the pavement and every sort of bit of brickwork or reflections on the window look amazing? So those were the kind of core technical and creative challenges that we've been wrestling with ever since we made that decision back towards the end of 2011 to just really gun it with the Batmobile.
Sure. We saw the, it looks like movie file deformation. I'm literally not getting the word at all. but everything going wrong with the Scarecrow little video moment.
Yeah.
Is that kind of hyper meta thing going to be part of the game where it's playing with the player's mind as much as it's playing with the character's mind?
I think the most appealing thing about moments like that is when you don't expect them. So I'm not going to kind of give you specifics on if we're doing stuff like that, but certainly it was uber popular. We did like a fake out shutdown, a console shutdown for Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
And I still watch that on YouTube and people's comments about like they got up and switched their console off, and then it just really, I think, engages with gamers on that level that you just don't expect. And that's the beauty of Scarecrow as a character, that you can, it's not just about creating deception within the game space. You can expand that out and create deception in people's lives as they're playing the game. And really kind of get under gamers' skins.
Do you feel like it's an opportunity to communicate with the player more directly? Because I mean, sometimes these games, it's like you basically don't act like people are playing the games. You act like it's all about empowerment of just be this character for a moment. We're going to act like you're not really here. You are trapped in this world.
Right.
It seems just like an unusual opportunity to recognize the player exists.
It kind of stems from our attitude that is be the Batman. Ever since Arkham Asylum, every decision we make is based on this idea of, does this make the gamer feel like they're Batman? Does this fulfill the fantasy of being the Batman? And so if you can kind of reach out of the game experience and touch the player and make them feel like Batman by doing that, then we're all for that. Anything that breaks the sensation that you are Batman, we do everything we can to try to avoid that. Because that's really the heart and soul of everything that we do at Rocksteady, is really push that sensation of just being this super powerful but very mortal character.
Sure. Do you have any more questions? Because I have just one left. Urban Chaos Riot Response. the greatest game ever made.
Of course.
When can we expect the sequel? For me, basically.
Right, the follow-up has been, on the back burner at Rocksteady for a long time.
That's why I assume it's going to be the best.
Because we've got all this spare time.
I can't wait. It's okay. I understand. Don't worry. You have just one person who would pay at least $60.
We got the Riot Shield. It's a great game, right?
It's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of ripping it off. Whatever. The point is, thank you so much for coming and talking to us about this game that isn't Urban Chaos but looks pretty great.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. We are here all week on Polygon.com, or if you want to watch more videos, we are on YouTube.com/Polygon. Until next time, we will see you later.